What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Teenage Talk. I'm your host, Justin Flannery. We're super excited to have you. This is my co-host, Gabe Wells. Gabe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. It's a different start to the year. Not used to this, but it's okay, man. Just got to make the most of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think this podcast is something we both have been looking forward to doing for a while now. And it's pretty exciting to be able to start off the new year with something like this, a project that we've been able to work on for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Um,
having so much time too, just to be able to do this.
yeah, it's something different for the both of us, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm not used to this, man. Looking forward to it though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so this first episode of Teenage Talk, we're going into transitioning from 2020 to 2021. We all know that 2020 was definitely an interesting year to say the least. I think you can agree with me there, Gabe.
Definitely not my best one either, but you know what? Move forward with that.
Of course. And so going into the new year, I think we wanted to talk about how to transition correctly and you know what should be different this year in dealing with that in our lives and with COVID going on and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think to start it off though, we're at the point of I don't even know what day of like what is it January? Is it January 5th? Yeah, it's January 5th. We're still at the exciting point of the new year where you come in with all these like new exciting ideas, different things that you say you want to do and all that stuff. But I mean, really, what really separates this year from every other year that we said we were going to do it? Um, so we're still at the exciting part, but I think that this year, especially if you have anything that you want to like go after, it's much different because you have time to go after those things instead of just sitting back and you know doing it for 2 weeks like you normally would, and then just kind of giving it up.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for us too, uh, being teenagers and high school kids, having that time is pretty important. We're not at school all day, and a lot of us have the resources to be able to do these new things and do something else that we've always wanted to do. And it's just a matter of getting going with that and figuring out ways to put in the time and get motivated to do these things that we want to do.
I agree completely, dude. And you said that we have the resources to do all this stuff. We're so lucky, and I think we take it for granted because we've like grown up with the internet. But we're so lucky just to be able to, have access to learn how to do anything that we want to. Um, whether that, I mean, that could literally mean be anything that you want, but it's all right at our fingertips. We got computers, phones, everything like that. So if we want to know something or if we want to get going with something, we can literally start. And there's really been no other generation that has ever been like that. So I think we're extremely blessed in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think our generation specifically, we've moved forward with a lot of things that are kind of unheard of. Me and you, high school kids, starting a podcast, talking about this stuff. We're I feel like kids our age now are a little bit ahead of our time. We're having to mature quickly and learn the real world quicker. And there's a lot of benefits, and there's also some struggles there as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think technology is a part of that too. Like we were talking about having everything at your fingertips, but with the high school kids starting this podcast, having that resource to be able to start with that when you're in high school, like
Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of crazy. But I mean, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it though. I'm looking forward to all this. I'm excited. Like we said, it's new. So
Yeah, definitely. I think I want to talk about with you. We were talking about having the resources. Last year for you was a pretty big year, if I'm not mistaken. You got a
yeah.
lot done, and I think it's worth talking about how how did you use your resources and the time in this kind of new environment, this quarantine, COVID stuff? How
Yeah.
did you stay motivated during those times?
Well, I mean, I let's see. I think staying motivated was really easy for me because we went on quarantine in March. So at that point, I was trying like a few different things out with social media because for those of you guys who don't know, I own my own personal training brand, and I didn't have the upfront capital that most businesses have when it comes to advertising. So I couldn't pay for advertising. I had to do everything for free, and obviously that's a lot slower. And I think it was around maybe it was around November. People around me, like a bunch of kids and stuff, they were talking about TikTok. And then I remember like a girl sitting next to me in class got like 20,000 followers overnight. And my thought process was, well, if she can get 20,000 followers overnight, then maybe I can do that too. And then if I can get those people to go onto my Instagram as well, find out about my personal training brand, and that may, create some business for me. So, I mean, I started to, God, I was posting like 5 times a day on TikTok there. I was really going after it. And then, so I was already seeing success with it, because I think, especially with business and really anything in life, um, if you can't see like immediate results, then it's tough to stay motivated. But I was seeing those. So I was really, it was really easy to keep going with that. And then, gosh, we went on quarantine, and then I already had the ball rolling for me. So just being able to, because I didn't think of it as like, okay, everything around me is like stopping. I viewed it as like, okay, now I have more time to like pursue the things that I want to pursue. So I took that time, and then I went and then I got my athletic training certification. I went and then I got my nutrition certification. So now I was like licensed. I was legit. I was feeling good, and I was ready to move forward. I was making good money with it too, and I was starting to understand. I was learning a lot too. I was really learning a lot. I think I was more busy, like the first month of quarantine, than I was, when we were going with school. Because I would come home from school, and I would just be so like burnt out from baseball, school, and I was like, I don't want to work on my other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, you know that too, playing baseball, of course. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely. I
that's
think I think that's such a huge thing, especially if you're a high school athlete. The the grind during, especially during season, which is right around when quarantine was happening. It was like
yeah,
late preseason, right, going right into the season. Those hours that you're spending at school doing your schoolwork, and then you got to go to practice, and then if you want to be an elite high school athlete, you got to get your lift in, your recovery, and
yep,
then for you especially, you're running your business, and so I think it's pretty difficult to stay, energetic enough to get through all of that. I do want to circle back a little bit. You were talking about seeing success early, and that helped you keep motivated. When you were first starting, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions with starting, especially transitioning into a new year, with starting New Year's resolutions, is almost people try to chew off more than they, or bite off more than they can chew with their New Year's resolutions. And I think you did a very good job. And, we talk to all our friends all the time. I think we all do a very good job of setting our goals as a way that we can progress and see growth rather than just trying to see immediate results. You want to talk about how you, in that the beginning of your journey when you're seeing success, how you were seeing more growth rather than just success?
oh yeah, of course. I think it's, well, you mentioned starting off with the growth right there. I think I was starting kind of in a hole, and this goes for everybody in our age group. I think if for all of us, when we're going after anything in life, we're really like kind of in a hole, in a sense that we crave immediate gratification with everything,
Of
because
course.
going back to technology and everything like that. Um, if it's not like, dude, we have the attention span of squirrels. We literally do. And I think, and that, like, kind of, I don't mean to go off track, but like that's why TikTok was so blowing up so quickly, is because you can just, if you don't like the video, I mean, videos are only less than a minute long, and if you don't like the video, then you can just swipe, and then there's another one right there. And we have zero attention span, and I think that that actually carries into not really seeing things through completely. So for me, what this is something that I've done ever since I was younger, and it didn't really pay off for me until I actually started to, get older, and then actually start to do bigger and better things. But instead of, what most people do is, because when I started to lose weight, for those of you guys who don't know, I mean, I'm kind of just going off of my story here, but um, I'm sorry, dude. I'm
it's
sorry.
the first episode, man. You got to fill everybody in.
Oh, of course, of course. But the reason when I started my personal training brand was because I ended up losing, like, it was 85 pounds in a year. I was pretty insecure before that, and it was the middle of my 8th grade year, and then I just went really hard on it. I got super into fitness, and then it was in the middle of my freshman year. I was just, I was super into it, and obviously I had changed, right? Um, 85 pounds down, it sounds like, it's just a number when you say it, but like when you put the pictures side by side, even looking back on it now, I can't even believe that that was me. And Justin, you knew me back then, so
Yeah, yeah, we've been friends for a long time, and I think the biggest thing when you're talking about this is that wasn't a very quick process. Nothing that we do, and start tying it back to the subject here of the episode, nothing that we do in this new year, like you're not going to change your routine one day and then boom, lose 85 pounds. Like that's just not the way it works.
Yeah.
And I was, we saw each other, very frequently while you're going through this transition. When you got in the fitness, you're getting in the weight room, in the gym all the time. And it was not a quick process for you, but you
No.
got there.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was getting to. I feel like I'm just babbling on here, but this is
Oh
what I
no,
was getting.
no, you're good. You're good.
Okay, so it's more so what I realized during that entire process was that it's not so much about the end goal. And it sounds kind of cheesy, but I'm going to get to a point of how you can actually relate this into life.
Okay.
Um, it's not so much about the end goal as it is like the micro goals, right? Like I think of it as more of like a staircase, because the thing is if you think my goal, like my flat goal was, okay, I'm going to lose 85 pounds, then if you only lose 10 pounds your first month, that's great. That is awesome progress right there. But it feels terrible because you're not that close to your goal. But if you say, okay, you know what, I want to lose 15 pounds this month, and then you only lose like 13, well, you're close. You didn't get there, but you're close. Or maybe you lose 18 and then you got more than that. And, you need to build up that momentum to keep that motivation, because I'm not, I think it's kind of funny coming from me, because I used to be all big into motivation. And then the more that I got into doing more things in my life, I realized that motivation is kind of, in my opinion, I think that motivation is like, I don't want to say hokey. I don't know the word for it, but it's not so much about motivation as it is about habits and consistency. But when you create those micro goals and you treat it kind of like a staircase, like when you get to the staircase, the top level of the staircase, that's your 85 pounds that you're losing. But then maybe the first level is like 10 pounds, and the next level is like 15. And then it's just a step by step. And then while you're getting to your ultimate goal, you're still accomplishing these other things that you wanted to do as well. So I think that's the biggest thing, is you need to break it down into smaller things that you can achieve a lot quicker.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the biggest things that when we were talking about what this episode is going to be about, when we were talking about transitioning in the new year, I knew this is something I definitely wanted to hit on, because I think when we go into a new year, a lot of us, especially teenagers, we don't know how to set goals correctly. We just see our social media influencers, the people around us, the popular people in high school, and see like what they are, and we just want it. And you touched on a very good point with the staircase analogy. I don't want to get too technical here,
Yeah,
but there is scientific research that shows that instead of seeing your goal, like you want to change the mentality of your goal into like habits. And rather than having goals, like end goals, you have habit changes. And that releases, dopamine in your brain that serves as your quote unquote motivation, which is why
yeah,
you said it's kind of like you don't think motivation is all of it, because when you make those changes to your habits, you don't feel like you need motivation to do things. You're just going to do them.
of course. I think another thing too is when it comes to developing those habits, like I think as humans too, we're naturally we're never satisfied with anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, you're always going to want more. And when it comes to building up those habits, it's not like building up a habit like you're always going to be done with it. It's like, okay, I'm building it up as a form of progression. That's why I like the staircase. I don't know. I always picture it as a staircase, and then that works for me.
And now it's
But
a mountain.
yeah, there we go. Because for those of you who don't get that, my brand is called CTM, Climb the Mountain. There was really no, it's funny is because I remember when I was telling everybody that I wanted to do this, and I was just brainstorming names, and then that just came to my head, and I was like, I love it, because I view it as like, Justin, I'm sure you've heard this, and like me say this a million times, but I view like anything that's tough in life as like a mountain, and then you got to climb the mountain, through the difficulties, and then the view from the top is like, that's where you want to be. It's always worth it. So, circling back to, how it was being productive during the start of the quarantine. It was because I got a lot of stuff done with my brand, and I learned a lot, because as far as like marketing goes and online marketing, social media, if you can learn how to leverage that this is more into the business space, but if you can learn how to like leverage that, then you're set. And I realized that like if I put more time towards this than anything else, then like I'm gonna see some success with it. So that's what I did, and that's what I've really been focusing on now too. Um, it's free advertising. It's basically free advertising. But what happened for me too was it was last school year. Because for those of you guys who don't know, I'm a published author as well. And I published my first book. I think it was the end of April. And what happened was I never would have thought that I would end up being an author, let alone before my 18th birthday. Because Justin knows me for the way that I joke around and all this stuff. I kind of act stupid at times. And when people think of like authors, they think of like I don't know. At least I do. I think of very sophisticated and intelligent people. And
Yeah. But if we're gonna put it in a good way, I think if you were to look in a dictionary, like or like a picture dictionary, and look up the word author, the picture of Gabe is not what you would see in there. It's kind of what we're getting to.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. But what happened for me was because this kind of goes back to the micro goals a little bit. What happened for me was I remember my teacher. There was this writing assignment. It was right after I lost weight, and it was talking about it was like the cheesiest thing ever in English class. It was like what makes you you or something like that. It was like the end of the year. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go into this, like talking about, everything that I think actually makes me me, right? Well, I was like writing it up, and then I'm like 3 pages in, and I was like, I'm nowhere close to done. Like, I'm not even close to done. And then my teacher, I turned it in, I wrap it up quick because I was like, I don't want to keep going with this. So I turned it in, and then my teacher like really, really thought that it was good. So I was like, okay, now, because my mom, for those of you, you probably, you don't know, but my mom is an English teacher as well. And then I started like typing it up on, like a Google Doc, right? And then I just kept going, and I actually kept going through everything in my life that I thought got me to the point to where I was that day. And anyways, I showed my mom just out of curiosity to see what she thought. And then she told me, she's like, Gabe, you need to get this out somewhere. And it was basically a story of, you know, basically the 18-month time period from going from, insecure, chubby, I was really afraid to talk to girls too. I was afraid to talk to girls. I always thought I was a social person, but I just wasn't confident in certain situations. And I mean, as far as be completely aside from looking better and everything like that, I think that just being able to take control of something in your life, for me, it turned out to be weight loss, but being able to take control of anything in your life is going to boost your confidence. And that's what really gave me the confidence in my life. But going back to it, I showed my mom that she's like, you need to get this out somewhere. So then I actually looked at like how to publish a book and stuff. And then I gave it around to like some friends and family, and I wanted to see their response. And everybody really liked it. And then, I think it was like, it was stopped it for a little bit because, like I said, it got busy with school and baseball and everything. Mm-hmm. And then we got in quarantine, picked it back up. And then, the end of April, I got pretty lucky with that. So,
yeah, I think the message here too, Gabe is a published author, and he's a high school student. So he was able to figure out, with the use of the internet and technology that we have, how to be an author and publish a book successfully. Like, this wasn't just a dud. Like, this was a pretty successful book, especially for our first publication.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I'm hyping you up over here.
I appreciate that. Keep going. No, don't stop.
No, yeah, and it was a pretty successful book, and he just did it on his own, and that's the biggest message here is going, tying it back. I'm all about tying it back to the subject.
Keep doing it, dude.
Good. Going into the new year, like that's if you're interested in something like that, like it's possible. The limits are endless, and especially in these times. So I appreciate you sharing the story with everybody, Gabe.
Of course. Yeah, I was happy to share that too. It's interesting though that you say that the limits are endless, and like all of there's because the thing is with the internet, I'm telling you guys, it doesn't matter what it is. If you want to learn anything, you can, and most of the time it's free. You just have to be willing to like put that time towards it. So I don't know. I think especially as generations past, I don't want to get into, I talked to Justin about this before. I don't want to get into my whole like college beliefs or anything like this, but we're so fortunate because we have everything. We have knowledge that no other generations have had right at our fingertips. And literally, you got to if you want something with that, then just be willing to put in the time, and then you're gonna see success with it. That's
Yeah.
all it is really putting time in.
Yeah. And I think, if you're not, uh, I mean, both of us are pretty strong personality type
I agree.
people.
I agree with that.
We
Yeah,
we go yeah, we go above and beyond. But even for those who aren't seeking to like be this big thing, even for like the certain areas in your life. So I guess talking for me specifically, looking into athletics and baseball, a lot of what you can learn about development and training and all that good stuff is, like we've been talking about, at your fingertips. And so even if you're not looking to be an author, business owner, this and that, all of what's on Gabe's resume, even just the simplest things in your life as a high school student, or even just as a teenager in general, social interaction, there's ways to improve it. And that starts with, as we were talking about, goal setting, habit changing, climbing the mountain, going up the staircase,
there we go.
slight plug.
There we go. Nice.
but
Yeah, there we go.
but yeah, I think talking about Gabe's story, that's why I was asking him about it, is a pretty good example of how to make changes in your life and, you know, progress forward.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. But I mean, it really is like because how you talked about the whole athletics thing and everything like that. Going back to you see now I'm going back to everything. I'm tying
that's,
out on it.
that's what conversations are about.
This is awesome. This is awesome. But I think right now, but that's what I'm saying is right now, especially like you have so much time. You really do. And you're not always gifted with that. Like when we're going to school, between school, baseball, everything, even if you're not playing a sport or something like that, when you're a high school student, like you don't have that much time and that much free time, maybe a few hours a day. And then you're still super tired. So I think right now the big thing is just taking advantage of that, of the opportunity that we have, even though it sucks. And I think we would all rather have a different situation right now. Um, it's best to play with the cards that you've been dealt and see how you can take advantage of that, whatever it may be. In this situation, it's just dedicating that time towards getting better in an area that you desire.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's what's exciting about the new year too. Going into 2021, we mentioned this earlier. 2020 was not the best. We've had to make changes, this and that. But it's exciting to be able to go into 2021 now, having this sort of motivation to, or the use of the word motivation again, but
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
being able to go into the new year excited about something again, excited about change, and looking back on it, back in like whatever pandemic happened in 1918, 1919, right after that you had the roaring 20s, and they made a lot of progression during those times. And so I think we're in an interesting time period right now where we can all be a part of something a lot greater than just us. And so I think that's pretty exciting to look forward to, and progress
Going
towards in the new year.
Yeah, going towards that too. I think because I know this is mostly geared for teenagers, so this one's completely what I'm about to say is completely for that audience right there.
There you go.
I think our age group we're going through a huge transition right now. Going back to technology, like I said, no other generation has experienced this. I don't doubt that in 40 years there's going to be fully self-driving cars going around the world. I'm a believer of that. Maybe that makes me crazy, but
Quote Gabriel Wells now, in 40 years, if there's driving cars.
yeah, I know that's exactly. But I don't know. I think we're really going through a strong transition right now that that maybe our parents and our grandparents, obviously they went through the changes in times for sure. But I think right now we're going through something, and I think that for our age group, that's kind of it's kind of tough too, especially if you're in high school because at least me. I don't know if this is like this for most high schoolers, but you're stressed about the future constantly, and it's like, well, what do I want to go off in college and study? What career do I want to do? This and that. And there's kind of uncertainty there because we don't really know what life, not just after the pandemic, sure, but like what's really going to be, what is there going to be a need for in 10
Mm-hmm.
years? And I don't know. I think that, especially at our age group, that could be definitely something that a lot of people are stressing about.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone in that realm of being overwhelmed by the future. I think most high school students, especially m- seniors right now, and I think seniors in general, seniors in high school, the change, not knowing, like especially we just got done with college applications, all that good stuff. The the idea of not knowing is very difficult for us to be able to deal with. We like to be,
In control, of
know what's going to happen.
course.
So I think you're definitely not in your own there. I think that applies to most of the people our age.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
That's why I'm
But
here.
oh,
Therapist
dude,
Justin.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. No, I know I can always come to you, but no. um, I mean, yeah, no, especially seniors right now too, because you guys kind of had an accelerated process there. Because Justin's a senior. For those of you listening, I'm a junior, so I still have another year of high school at the time this is being filmed. Um, but for seniors, yeah, seriously, you guys, it was really accelerated for you because I think going into senior year, this is just how I always thought about it. Going into senior year, um, you kind of start to realize that this is like the end, and then you walk in on that first day of school and you have that like the mental wheels turning. You guys didn't have that. Like walking to classroom was like what walking across maybe your house or like your room to your
Yeah,
desk.
and
So
it's so crazy that you talk about that too, because it's still, after finishing first semester, it still hasn't hit me yet. Uh, I think the only thing that I have that tells me I'm a senior is like my senior shirt from my high school.
that's
And
it.
it's, even then, it feels like I have it by mistake.
Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah, I get that. Well, that's the thing is you guys. That's what I'm saying. It was so sped up, and it doesn't feel like that for you guys. I'm guessing. And for me, like being a junior, I mean, I feel like I'm growing up way too quick. My mom and dad will tell you the same thing too. But, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess for you guys, that would be really really tough right now.
Yeah, I think one of the craziest things we experienced too during this last year was the sense that everything was the same every day. I think
Yeah,
that's the hardest part, especially. I know for me, this is a challenge. During the school year, getting out of bed, eating, then doing school, staring at a computer for several hours of the day, and then doing homework, getting my lifting, getting my baseball stuff in, and then going to sleep, doing it over again. And then, one day I woke up and it's January.
no, of course. That's where like you hear people talking about their like routine and stuff, their like daily routine, and I don't know. I have you ever seen those videos on YouTube?
Like daily
Like
routine videos, like day in our
yeah,
lives.
yeah, like day in the lives, but they, the ones where they try to make it seem like every day is like that.
Oh, you mean like they picked the most exciting day out of
And
the year
yeah,
and they film it?
exactly, exactly. Okay, yeah, that's my point. That was kind of where I was going, but like, not really. But if every day is the same, dude, you're gonna get bored so quick. And it doesn't matter if you are the most interesting man in the world. You're gonna get bored if every day is the same.
Yeah.
And we all went, like, we really did. We all went through that, and then add all the stress that the world was putting on us right now. Because I think, as far as that goes, I think that teenagers our age, we're not young, like really, really young to where we don't know what's going on in the world. I know a lot of people, their parents lost their jobs or something like that during this time. Um, for me, my dad lost his job a few months ago. It was back in October. So just kind of knowing that it's a stressful time. It's a stressful time because you know what's going on, and I think that had to, it kind of had to mature all of us in a way because at least me, I felt like I was having adult stresses at the age
Yeah.
of 7, which is weird. And like, I don't think, during normal times would that really happen. I guess it would under certain circumstances, but
Yeah.
you know, probably not for the general public there.
Yeah. I think what's crazy about that too, we're not going to dive into politics too much here, but
No, yeah,
I
no,
think I think the craziest thing is, especially during the election, I like before. I think I can speak for a lot of people. We didn't have a very knowledgeable, like we weren't very knowledgeable in the area of politics. I know for me, I didn't know a lot, and now like we're dealing with that as teenagers.
yeah.
We know what's happening, and we have to deal with the stresses of
Well,
an
I think,
election.
yeah, no, that's completely true. And I think obviously this year, especially, a lot more people um, started to care. I don't know if pay attention is the right word, but they started to care. And I obviously that creates. I think being aware of what's going on is a good thing. I think being, um, kind of understanding. I think understanding and being aware is a good thing, definitely. However, I think being obsessed is completely a different thing. And this year we saw that completely. Um, as far as like you said, you don't want to get in politics or anything like that, and I obviously that's not what this is for. I don't have much to say about that either.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say with that though is as it relates to the stress, um, I think this year especially there was so much overreaction, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree with that too, because my personal belief is regardless of who is in whatever country you're from, whoever, like all of that stuff, whoever is in control, that will have an influence in your life. I'm not stupid. I know that that will for sure have an influence in your life, but I'm a big believer that ultimately you are the president of your own life, and whether that's not just controlling the current situation that you're in, but also your outlook. Like it really depends on your perception. I'm a big believer in that too, that um, life is not just what you make of it, but also how you see it.
Mhm.
And if you're somebody that constantly looks for the positive in everything, and you kind of understand that, like, just because maybe you wanted, maybe with the election, maybe you wanted, the other person to win or something like that. It doesn't matter because there's two sides. So other thing with politics here, whenever there's two sides, not just the politics, but with anything in life, one side's going to be happy when they win, the other side's going to be upset. So it's one of those things where even if you lost, then you still gotta have a good outlook on life and just be appreciative and everything like that.
Yeah, I like the way you put it, taking control of your own life. And I think that applies to a lot of things in life, not just the election and who's in office, but you know, anything in life, dealing with an external challenges and stuff that's going on around you, turning off the noise, putting your head down and focusing on you, I think is one of the most important things that especially kids our age, teenagers can do and learn how to do. It's be able to, you know, find your identity, find what you're looking for in yourself and, build off of that and not what's happening around you.
I totally agree with that because there's so much external noise, right?
Yeah.
Especially we're talking about the technology, the phones and stuff too. Man, you get a notification. Like I know I will. I don't know if you're the same way. I will be being productive, doing my thing, and then I'll get a notification, and then I'll completely distract me for like ten
It
minutes.
drives me absolutely crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it's really tough. It's really tough because it's tough to stay in your lane and control the things that you can't, and understanding that you can only control the things that you can control. Because, like I said, we're surrounded by all this external noise, right?
Mhm.
So the one good thing to that though is if you are able to figure it out at this young age, then that's a skill that you're going to be able to carry for the rest of your life. So there is a positive to that, but um, it's tough, man. It's tough. I'm not going to pretend like it's easy.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it right there. None of it, both of us are not trying to say that, life is easy and then
Not at all.
just making changes to your routine is going to be like, just like that. And both of us have gone through this with different parts of our lives. And that's why, we wanted to start the podcast and talk about it is we've been through things. Obviously, both of our stories are pretty different. We're on very different paths and I think that's why we wanted to start this is because we wanted to talk about it and get it out there for people to listen and, start to learn about other people's lives and relate and, know that they're not alone in what they're thinking and all that good stuff.
I agree with that completely. And something you said about how we're kind of on different paths here. What's really cool about that though is that I don't want to. Obviously, we're good friends and stuff, but I like it when I'm able to communicate with somebody who's on a different path than me because I love just learning and being able to talk and stuff. Because if everybody was doing the same thing as me, it would get pretty boring. It's like having the same routine every day, like we said. It would get pretty boring. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Really interested to see where you know everything goes in the future, not just with this year, but many years to come. And as far as you were talking about the podcast and stuff, I'm super excited to get into everything else that we talked about.
Yeah. I think this is a very exciting time for both of us getting this started. And I think it's an exciting time for everybody to start, progressing towards the things that they love and things they're passionate about. And, this is what this is all about. Just getting those ideas out there and seeing what can happen.
Totally agree with you. Couldn't have said it better myself. Nice job, Justin.
I appreciate it. Round of applause. So I think unless there's anything else that you wanted to go over during this, I think we
Yeah.
covered a lot of good stuff.
Oh, I agree completely. I think we went over everything plus more because as I was talking, more stuff was coming in my head. So I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I think we had a very, very solid first episode. I appreciate everybody who's tuning in to listen, and I think I can speak for both of us when we look forward to continuing this and seeing where it can grow, and the message that we can get out there to others.
Completely agree with you, man. Completely agree with you.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you listening, and we look forward to seeing you again.